if at all. Like, it's real weird because I've never seen such a dip in our society before as during this pandemic. And some of it's understandable, but some of it is like, it's a perception, the perception of the police, the perception of society at large. It's just very different than it's ever been before.
I think it has a lot to do with us adapting to the internet, and technology. It's fairly new, and everyone's getting their information from charismatic people who want to be on camera. Whereas the really smart, nuanced people, like those old school mob bosses who were, you get caught if you're flaunting yourself John Gotti style. But the people who were behind the scenes, like doctors, politicians, those are the people who were in it, doing it. And we used to have Walter Cronkites and Edward R. Murrows, and now we got guys just going up there on the internet with their phone and making these categorical, charismatic statements, and people that are really they're simplified and just really generalized, and people are just following them. And now we've become two full countries that hate each other. It used to be you at a time of war or something, you came together a little bit to support whoever the guy is in office. Now it's there's people who wouldn't support Biden at all, no matter what. I mean, even if China was storming Malibu and set up their captain's quarters in Reese Witherspoon's beach home, we'd still be hating each other, and we're so disjointed and disunified. And I think it's because we're online.
I think that's a big part of it. And I also think what you're saying about people being charismatic is very true, that these charismatic, influential people that are getting attention from posting outrageous things online, constantly posting things about either the left or the right, like how pathetic they are and how foolish they are and how arrogant they are, and just making these really polarized teams. And I don't subscribe to that. I know you don't subscribe to that kind of shit. It's dumb. It's there's great people on both sides. There's people that have a lot of opinions that I don't agree with at all, but then I agree with them on many things. And I like to just treat people like people and think of their ideas as individuals or individual ideas. I don't want a collective group of ideas that I have to subscribe to.
Right.
I mean, I think that's a real problem with people, whether you're on the left or the right. You could predict, if you can ask someone real specific questions, like how do you feel about gun control? How do you feel about the Second Amendment? Do you think it's important? Their answer can tell you how they feel about abortion, how they feel about immigration, how they feel about whether the election was valid. It's just go down the line with one question.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, and it's sad. It's sad because you should, like you said, I mean, it's the Second Amendment is totally different from abortion, totally different from gay marriage. And it's sad that you can ask one question, you can predict, and with probably great deal of accuracy, what those people are going to say based on that one answer, because they've drawn their lines and they're towing this line now, and people are so far apart. And then you're right, when you speak to them in person and have a long conversation with them, you find out even though they may lean on this side or lean on that side, most people are pretty reasonable. They care about their family, they care about their money. And politics used to be about that. Hey, it's the money, stupid, or whatever that expression was. It's the economy, stupid. Because whether you were on the right or the left, at the end of the day, you're about yourself.
Yeah, I think one big point about what you're saying about these influential people too is they benefit from strife. They benefit from conflict. And so instead of uniters like Martin Luther King Jr., you have the opposite. You have people that literally benefit from people being divided. They benefit from calling people out or yelling people down or getting conflict going. That gets them more views. I mean, that's what's going on with Facebook. That's what the algorithms that people are complaining about that are literally accelerating our path towards some sort of civil war.
Yeah.
Did you see The Social Dilemma?
I did see The Social Dilemma.
Scary shit, right?
Scary shit. And I tell you what I was watching actually on the plane was this, do you remember the Duke lacrosse players?
Yes.
Do you remember that story?
Yes. Explain to people.
Dude, the Duke lacrosse players. So the whole media had kind of indicted these guys, and they loaded this story with, class and race.
Explain the story to people.
It was a bunch of lacrosse players. They had a party, right? A bunch of guys had a party at their house. Yeah, they're uppity white guys. They play lacrosse. So it's nobody comes from the ghetto and plays lacrosse. So that they're arrogant white guys who probably, their father may have a third. They definitely have a portrait in the foyer of like, this is my uncle, his ties go back to England or whatever.
Right.
So they're douches. We get it. But they had a party and somebody hired some strippers. And the strippers that came were like two POCs. They were POC. And one of them was...
A lot of people listening are like... Oh.
POCs are people who historically disenfranchised, a little darker melanin tones.
People of color.
People of color. People of color.
Yes.
And so they came, they stripped, but the girl, they only stripped for like 5 minutes, and the girl was saying weird stuff, and then they got mad. The guys got mad because they felt like they were getting conned, that they didn't get their lap dance worth or whatever, their dancing worth. And then something went awry, and then the girl called the cops and said, I was assaulted. And then from there it became a big story, and it ended up that the prosecutor was withholding exculpatory evidence that would have exonerated knowingly. I mean, he ended up getting disbarred and doing time because of this. And you look back now and you're going like, that guy was doing exactly what online personalities do now.
Yes.
It's like, this is good for me.
Right.
I'm in the spotlight. I'm this hero convicting these douchebags. The media's attaching this big social justice cause to it. There's this evidence that clearly my client is lying. Let's just put that to the side because all the attention's on me, and this is self-aggrandizing for me. So I'm benefit from it. I'll just lie and just, there's some evidence that comes that, contradicts what I'm saying. Let's just, because right now I'm a star. And so these kids were maligned by the media, all these journalists writing this horrible stuff about these kids, the culture of the lacrosse players, the privilege, the white privilege, this, that. They did this to this poor black person, and then it was loaded because of Durham, because you got Duke, and Duke is like the Harvard of the South, and then you got poor Durham, and then it was all bullshit. It was all bullshit. The DNA exonerated the 3 kids that were on trial, and it ended up this girl was like had some mental health problems. She ended up like killing her boyfriend or something, and is in prison like a couple years later. She was like off, and a few journalists apologized, but by that time it was like, now you go to comedy clubs, the joke that comics tell the most, if they see 5 waspy looking white guys, they're like, you guys look like the Duke lacrosse player, that you use it as a pejorative. So it doesn't matter if it's true because the media made it true. So a lot of people don't even know that they did nothing because the narrative had already been written.
Right, that's the problem.
That's the problem.
The problem is once the narrative gets out there, if there's some sort of a correction in the newspaper a couple weeks later, it's always on like the 4th page in the lower right-hand corner. Sorry, we have the amendment to the story. Yeah. Turns out nobody raped anybody. Whoops.
Yeah, sorry.
We ruined your life forever.
Yeah, but we sold a lot of papers with that. So
that is a real issue. Here's a real question: should you be able to make money off the news?
It's a good question, man.
It's a good question because if you can make money off the news, then all of a sudden the news becomes a show. And the more outrageous you can get it, the more clickbaity you can get it, the more you can sort of jazz up the headlines and distort the story, the more you're going to get people to tune in. If it bleeds, it leads. Yeah. Let's go.
I remember when I was working for Fusion, which was like a short-lived company that was owned by Disney and Univision. It lasted like a year. It was totally like they tried to build a big studio in Miami and they were trying to target millennials, but by that time, like everything was on the phone. People were watching you, and it was just a waste of money. But I remember one of their slogans was like "Start a fight," and I was like,
really?
Yeah, because my two co-hosts were journalists, and it was run by journalists, and I was like the comedic guy that they had me in a corner and they opened it up and I came in and I was like, woo ha, to make people laugh. But but I was working with like a Peabody Award-winning journalist, Mariana Atencio and Pedro Andrade. He was from Brazil, and they were 2 serious journalists. And the executive producer sat us down. It's like, pick a fight. Always look to pick a fight. And I'm like, wow. That sucks. Yeah, that should be happening in MMA with the matchmakers, not your news.
That's hard to hear.
Yeah.
Pick a fight.
Pick a fight. Because it gets ratings. People love the drama. They love it. I mean, if you turned on a real reality TV show, it would just be like a couple guys sitting around,
Yeah.
picking their nose, changing channels. But then if you make a reality, you're like, they tell you, that's not reality. They have line producers going, okay, call him the N-word now. Like, I don't want to call him the N-word. Like, no, trust me. We'll figure out, and then...
We'll bleep it out. No one will know what you said.
Yeah, then they let you...
Then they start with the N and lead with the R. And you're like, hey.
I bet you Puck was a really good guy. I bet you they just edited it. You remember Puck from Real World? He was sticking his finger in peanut butter.
That's right.
He was bullying Pedro.
No, he was a mess. But the problem with those guys is that you make them more of a mess by shining the camera on them. And then you make him famous. Didn't he lose his marbles after he got off that show? Because he was one of the most famous guys from the real world, other than Theo Vaughn.
Yeah.
Or was he on Road Rules?
No.
Theo was on Road Rules, right?
No, Theo was in one of the houses.
He was in the real world?
He was,
no,
yeah.
No, well, yeah. He was on Road Rules, and then he was in the Challenge, which sort of is like the living experience at the house.
But, so it's two different.
Both. He was on multiple shows for
Theo Vaughn.
Yeah. He's the only dude probably to make it out of there.
100%. And be legit.
Be legit.
Yeah. I mean, he's a fucking legit comic.
He's a funny dude.
He's funny.
Yeah.
He's fucking funny. That dude kills me.
And he's funny solo, which is not easy to do.
Oh, dude, he's funny, period.
Yeah.
He's a funny fucking comic and so original. Who's more unique than Theo Vaughn? His style.
It's like comedy jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're almost listening for the funny and the rhythm of it.
And it's got an element of gonzo to it too. Sort of like Joey Diaz. He's lying about some of these things, but you don't care. You know what I mean? It's it's part of the fun. A great Joey Diaz story. Who knows what percentage of it is exaggeration or absolute falsehoods?
Right.
But you don't care.
Right.
You're there for the ride.
Right.
And that's with Theo.
Right.
My uncle got bit by a gay guy.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
When he says that, you're like, what the fuck? We'll see. He's so funny, man.
Lying belongs with entertainers.
Yes.
But unfortunately now, like you said, these journalists have become entertainers. They got their own brand. They got their own Twitter feed. They have their own gram.
Well, it makes them famous and it makes them wealthy. Well, I think there's a shining light to that. There's there's a way out of this, and I think it's Substack. A lot of these legitimate journalists, they're no longer with these papers that are interested in doing that, and they're gravitating towards Substack, and they have people pay for actual journalism.
Yeah.
And so there's a new wave of legit journalists on Substack that are just people subscribe to it, and they can choose to subscribe or not subscribe. You pay or you don't pay. It's your choice. But in doing so, these people have cultivated a group of people that are actually looking for real journalism.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is. I think that was the problem, is the media probably just didn't adapt to the digital age.
Yeah.
They kept making papers, and then they started giving the articles away for free.
Yep.
And then in order to get clicks, you had to make the headlines into car crashes to get people's attention. But
you have to.
From doing comedy, it's the same thing when you do comedy. When you're doing an open mic or a free show, the audience doesn't respect it.
It's
they
true.
Come in, you do those college shows, they yawn, they come in flip-flops, they suck their teeth at you. They don't care. They didn't pay. You're
not invested.
You're not invested in it, and you're attracting an audience that is apathetic. They're not there for the show. But if you pay for the journalism, you could take that money away. If it's not good, you go, take it away.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, isn't it, about those free shows, paper shows?
Yeah.
The audience, the way they feel is so different.
Yeah.
Shorter attention span, not really that interested, and just not invested in the show.
Yeah. You don't respect something if you don't pay for it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's true.
It's true. But it's like Patreon. Comedy doesn't happen on television anymore. That's not comedy.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it's wild. But comedy is happening on podcasts, on the internet, and Patreon is the purest. It's probably the purest system, the subscriber model that comedians and entertainers have ever had. It's this same model that Netflix has, same model that HBO has, and it proves that model probably is better than the other models, because HBO for a while has been making more money than all the networks combined because of their dumb pilot system, where they'd make those pilots and spend all that money and then jettison those shows that didn't work. Whereas HBO, it's hey, we make the shows that we want to make, you pay the money, and if you don't like it, you leave. If you like it, and that's why they were free to be uncensored and push the envelope. And now that's happening online with Patreon. Patreon.com/Yanni Longdays.
Yeah, it is. There's a new era in that respect, but Patreon will delete you. That's the problem. They can decide that you're problematic, and they've
Right.
done that with people before, right?
Right.
They've done that with people, where it was very arguable whether or not what they did was bad or not.
That's the issue.
You need something where the people get to decide and not a corporation. You're not going through a filter like Patreon.
Right.
So how do you do that? I think Sam Harris doesn't use Patreon. I think he does it straight through his website. I think his donations. He's an interesting cat, man, and the way he does his podcast, he does a subscriber-based podcast, but he doesn't ever want anyone to not get the content if they can't afford it. So all you have to do is send an email to him saying that you can't afford it, and he'll give you a free subscription. And 100% of all those requests are accepted.
Wow.
Yeah. But he still does well.
Yeah.
It's still doing really well.
Because people want to give.
Yeah, because it's really good.
Yeah.
His insight is fantastic. He's a really brilliant guy. But the way he's doing it is all through his, first of all, there's not a corporation in the world that would do that. Would say, if you can't afford it, send an email, we'll give it to you for free.
Right.
But he does it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So he's got a weird business model, but it works for him. And I'm pretty sure he does it all through his website.
Radiohead doesn't get enough credit. Credit.
Credit?
Credit. Wabbits.
Lastly, Wabbit.
They don't get enough credit for being like the first. Remember when they did that on their website? They just said, we're giving you this album for donation. Give what you want. And they made like a ton of money.
What was that? When did they do that?
It was, remember that?
In Rainbows is like 2005. Pay what you want release is what they called it. The first major act to do it.
Who was it? What?
Radiohead.
Radiohead did. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And they made a ton. And like at that point, that was like the coup de grace.
I thought you were saying Radio did that. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Radio? Like Radiohead. That's right. Radio did that.
Yeah.
And well, Louis C.K. did that too, didn't he?
He did it.
Didn't he do something very similar like that when he released his comedy special?
He did. Well, he did it for $5 on his website. But Radiohead was like the first major act of any genre, any art form to do it. And it wasn't just a set price. It was like pay what you want. And people ended up, because they love Radiohead so much, they end up giving a lot of money, much like the Sam Harris model. You were just saying like, hey, if you can't afford it, we'll give it to you. But people want to pay.
I think Adam Curry has a similar situation, right? He allows you could pay whatever you want, isn't it? I think Adam's is free. Is it free, or is it you could pay whatever you want? I think you could pay whatever you want. And some people pay $1, and some people pay you a lot of money.
Yeah.
They just say, this is a great show. I want to support it.
Yeah.
It's there's some purity to that,
Big time.
There really is. It's a nice business model where you have like a real, like Adam in particular has a real relationship with his fans.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it works out.
Yeah.
Like everybody agrees, and he does not waver, and he does not censor himself. He's always telling you fucking the straight dope, no matter what or how uncomfortable or how weird the conversation is.
Yeah. Yeah, and that model's pure, straight to the fans. No middleman, no corporate, ethics office or whatever. And people crave that. People want that, and that's why the success of that model is the success that it is, because people want it.
Yeah,
and
well, they realize the opposite is dangerous. When you have corporate censored information and you're not getting the full unbiased story, you're getting a filtered down story that has been decided upon by a bunch of executives. They would say, well, we're going to leave much like we were talking about with the prosecuting attorney. It was going to leave out some information that would make us look bad or make the story look bad, and let's steer it in a certain direction.
Right.
We're not going to lie, but we're going to eliminate some stuff that would throw into question whether or not our story is accurate.
Right. And people see through it now.
Yeah.
A lot of the reason is podcasts like yours, where you're like, hey, I'll let a guy talk for 4 hours. You could tune in when you want, tune in for as long as you want. It's on you. But I'm going to let him talk. And I'm not beholden to, some peacock logo or, you're beholden to probably a few vitamins and a few weights.
But they never give
Which
me advice.
are good for you.
They are good for you.